Karn remains one of the most polarizing and fiercely debated figures in the history of epic literature. Born into divine royalty but cast into the margins of ancient Indian society, his life was an ongoing battle against the constraints of caste, lineage, and cosmic design. Though historically categorized within the Kaurav faction of the Mahabharat war, modern psychological and literary analyses view him as a classical anti-hero, a man whose rigid adherence to personal honor, dharma, ultimately engineered his own destruction. Karn was born of a divine union between the solar deity Surya and the Yadav princess Kunti. Born with a celestial armor, kavach, and matching earrings, kundal, fused to his flesh, he was cast adrift in the Ganga river by an unwed Kunti, who feared societal ruin. The infant was rescued downriver by Adhirat, a head charioteer of the Dhritarashtra court, and his wife Radha. Raised in the Sutta, or charioteer community, the young boy, initially named Vasusena, demonstrated an innate, unyielding inclination toward warfare and archery. However, the rigid social stratification of the era repeatedly blocked his advancement. He was denied formal tutelage by the royal guru Dronacharya, who resolved to train only Kshatriyas, the warrior elite class. Driven to bypass societal gatekeeping, Karn sought out Parshuram, a legendary warrior sage and Vishnu avatar, who trained only Brahmins. Karn secured an apprenticeship by posing as a Brahmin youth, rapidly rising to become Parshuram's premier disciple. His true identity was unmasked during a critical incident of physical endurance. While Parshuram slept with his head resting on Karn's lap, a blood-boring insect deeply punctured Karn's thigh. To avoid disturbing his master's rest, Karn endured the excruciating pain in total stillness. Upon awakening, Parshuram deduced that no Brahmin could possess such high threshold tolerance for physical pain. It was strictly the hallmark of a Kshatriya. Perceiving this omission of identity as a profound betrayal, Parshuram cursed Karn. The vital incantations required to summon his ultimate weapon, the Brahmastra, would completely vanish from his memory at the precise moment he faced an equal adversary. Karn's public breakthrough occurred at the graduation tournament of the Kuru princes in Hastinapur. After the Pandav prince Arjun demonstrated flawless archery, Karn stepped into the arena, seamlessly replicated Arjun's feats, and demanded a duel. The Kuru elders immediately intervened, citing tournament regulations that forbade a commoner from challenging a prince. Recognizing a potent geopolitical counterweight to Arjun, the crown prince Duryodhan stepped forward. He exploited the legal loophole by instantly crowning Karn as the king of Ang, modern-day West Bengal and Bihar. This single act of validation forged a lifetime, unbreakable psychological bond. Karn swore his absolute military and personal allegiance to Duryodhan, effectively setting his trajectory against the Pandavas. Karn was a family man who married twice, most prominently to Vrishali. He fathered 9 sons. In a brutal testament to the realities of the Kurukshetra war, 8 of his 9 sons were progressively killed on the battlefield. Only his youngest, Vrishaketu, survived the war. Indra, the king of the gods and the biological father of Arjun, knew that as long as Karn wore his divine birth armor, he was entirely invincible in battle, making it impossible for Arjun to defeat him in the upcoming war. Karn maintained a daily ritual, where, after his noon prayers to the sun, he would grant any request made by a petitioner. Knowing this vulnerability, Indra disguised himself as a mendicant and demanded Karn's birth armor and earrings. Karn's father, the sun god, Surya, actually learned of Indra's plot ahead of time. He appeared in Karn's dreams to warn him. He notified Karn that Indra will come disguised as a poor Brahmin during his noon prayers to beg for his armor. God Surya told Karn not to give Indra his armor, for it protects his life. Despite the divine warning, Karn refused to break his sacred vow of Danvrat, which dictated that he must give any Brahmin whatever they asked for during his noon worship. When Indra approached him in the guise of a frail hermit and asked for the armor and earrings, Karn smiled and revealed that he knew exactly who the Brahmin truly was. Even so, to keep his word, Karn took a sharp weapon and literally sliced the golden armor and earrings directly off his own flesh, handing them over while drenched in blood. Stunned and deeply ashamed by Karn's unparalleled generosity and unwavering honor, Indra could not simply walk away. In return for the armor, he granted Karn a devastating celestial weapon called the Vasvi Shakti. However, it came with a strict catch. Karn could only use it a single time, after which it would return to Indra. During the final war, Karn had been holding on to the Vasvi Shakti like a prized trump card, saving it exclusively for his final showdown with his ultimate rival, Arjun. Because the weapon could only be used once before returning to Indra. Krishna knew that as long as Khan possessed it, Arjun was in fatal danger. Krishna actively kept Arjun away from Khan on the battlefield until that weapon was spent. On the 14th night of the Kurukshetra war, fighting uncharacteristically continued past sunset. Darkness exponentially multiplied the powers of the Rakshasas or demons. Ghatotkach, the giant demon prince, and son of Pandav Bhim, unleashed his full illusionary and demonic powers, grew to a colossal size and began utterly obliterating the Kaurav army. He crushed thousands of soldiers under his feet and rained down fire and boulders. The Kaurav forces panicked and fell into total chaos. Desperate and fearing total annihilation, Duryodhan wept and begged Karna to use whatever means necessary to kill Ghatotkach. With no other option left to save his friend's army, Karna was forced to give up his trump card. He summoned the glowing, infallible Vasavi Shakti, and hurled it at the giant demon. The spear pierced Ghatatkacha's chest, killing him instantly. As he fell, his massive body crushed an entire additional division of the Kaurav army. While the Pandavas wept for the loss of Bhim's son, Krishna was unexpectedly joyous. A bewildered Arjun asked Krishna why he was not devastated by the tragic death of their nephew. Krishna revealed the brutal strategic reality and said, Ghatotkach has died a hero, but he has saved your life, Arjun. Today, Karna has spent the dart given to him by Indra. As long as he held that spear, neither you, nor I, nor anyone else in the three worlds could have saved you from death. Karna is now mortal once more. By forcing Karna to expend the weapon on Ghatotkach, the path was finally cleared for the ultimate, historic duel between Arjun and Karna. On the eve of the Kurukshetra war, Kunti approached Karna privately, revealing that he was her abandoned firstborn and the eldest brother to the Pandavas. Legally, this meant that switching sides would instantly grant him the imperial crown of India and stop the impending war. Khan faced a profound ethical crisis. Choose his biological family who had abandoned him, or stick by the tyrant friend who had given him status. He chose loyalty over blood, promising Kunti only that he would spare all her sons except for Arjun, ensuring she would still finish the war with 5 sons. During the Kurukshetra war, Karna had multiple opportunities to turn the tide of history. He fought and completely defeated Yudhishthir, Bhim, Nakul, and Sahadev in separate, direct combat encounters. He had each of them at the point of his arrow, completely at his mercy. However, remembering the secret promise he made to his mother Kunti, that he would not kill any brother except Arjun, he insulted them, humiliated them with his words, and let them walk away alive. During the war's 17th day, Karna, then serving as the supreme commander of the Kaurav forces, engaged Arjun in a final duel. The encounter was progressively compromised by a series of predestined crises. First, his own charioteer, King Shalya, actively waged psychological warfare against him, insulting his lineage mid-battle and demoralizing him. Second, a curse from a Brahmin, whose cow Khan had accidentally killed, caused the earth to soften, trapping his left chariot wheel, which led to Karna having to leave his chariot to dismount the trapped wheel manually. And last and most important crisis was Parashuram's curse taking effect, causing Khan's mind to go entirely blank, erasing the mantras needed for his cosmic weaponry. Lacking his weapons and standing stranded on the ground, Karna appealed to the universal laws of engagement, requesting a temporary pause to free his chariot. Krishna, acting as Arjun's strategist, ruthlessly countered the appeal by listing the numerous times Khan had personally validated the breaking of moral codes, most notably his complicity in the public abuse of Draupadi. Under Krishna's direct order, Arjun released the Anjalika arrow, striking down an unarmed Karna. In the Karna Parv of the original Sanskrit text, Karna does not die silently. After Arjun's arrow strikes him down while he is trying to lift his stuck chariot wheel, Karna is lying mortally wounded, bleeding into the earth. Before he succumbs, he looks at Krishna with bitter anger and cries out about the unfairness of his death, claiming he lived by dharma and that dharma had failed to protect him. Krishna's response is one of the most chilling and famous rebukes in the epic. Instead of comforting the dying warrior, Krishna ruthlessly lists the exact moments Karna abandoned righteousness and said, "Where was your dharma, Karna, when a vulnerable Draupadi was dragged into the gambling hall and you called her a prostitute? Where was your dharma, when you conspired to burn the Pandavas alive in the palace of wax? Where was your dharma when 6 of you surrounded and mercilessly slaughtered the teenage boy, Abhimanyu, from behind? Upon hearing Krishna's words, Karna hung his head in profound shame. He realized the absolute truth of his moral failures, stopped arguing, accepted his fate, and died in silent repentance. Upon his death, a brilliant solar aura left his body and merged into the sun. After the 18-day Kurukshetra war ended, the Kauravas were entirely wiped out. The Pandavas had won the imperial crown. Thereafter, as was the custom, the survivors gathered on the banks of the Ganga river to perform Tarpana, the sacred funeral rites and water offerings for the departed souls. Queen Kunti stood by the water, watching her sons perform rituals for Bhishma, Drona, and Abhimanyu. When she saw them preparing to finish the rituals without naming Karna, her maternal guilt finally broke her. Weeping uncontrollably, Kunti stepped forward and dropped a bombshell. She said, "My sons, you must also offer the sacred water for the great warrior Karna. He was not a lowly charioteer's son. He was my firstborn child, sired by the sun god, Surya, before my marriage. He was your eldest brother." The original Mahabharat text describes the Pandavas as being struck by a collective numbness. The victory they had fought for 18 days to achieve instantly turned to ashes. Arjun was deeply traumatized by the news. For years, his singular focus in life had been to surpass and kill Karna. He realized that the man whose chariot wheel he had ruthlessly targeted, the man he had mocked for his low caste, was actually his flesh and blood. Arjun remembered how Karna had spared the lives of Bhim, Yudhishthir, Nakul, and Sahdev on the battlefield due to a secret promise to Kunti, while Arjun had shown him zero mercy. To make amends for the immense injustice done to Karna, Yudhishthir performed his state funeral rites with the highest imperial honors, officially declaring him the eldest prince of the royal Kuru dynasty. The Pandavas took Vrishaketu, Khan's only surviving son, under their direct wing. Arjun personally mentored his nephew in archery, treating him with the profound love and care he wished he could have shown his eldest brother, Karna. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe so you can get notified when more videos like this are uploaded.